You wake up, grab coffee like you normally would, or maybe it's tea for you, and you feel the heaviness of the day already on you before you've even begun. You see, it's time to log into your computer and do that thing called work. But today ends up being a little different than all the other days that you're used to. In fact, today, when you log into your systems or attempt to, you have no access. And for anybody that's been in that space, you already know what that means. It's time for a change. Life has thrusted you out of what you already know and do every single day. And now it's time to pivot. You see, that's how I found out at my last job that I was being laid off. It happened a little backwards because HR was supposed to let me know before they shut off all my systems that it was going to be my last day. And in that moment, instead of having anxiety rule my life, I actually had the opposite reaction. Anxiety left my body because it was the job and the environment that was creating horrible stress. But in the midst of all of it, I realized that this was an opportunity. This was the chance to go and change my life and actually live a life I chose. And instead of being able to wake up the next day and go to work, I had to pivot. And I had to make a decision on what that pivot looked like. And in turn, that pivot required me to do one thing. And that was bet on myself. You see, I just decided I wasn't going to continue just trying to find another job and break into the cycle all over again. I was going to tap into the one thing that was going to change my life forever. And that was sharing my story with people like you. I realized that I was asking others to believe in me at work, in my scenario, but the person that truly needed to bet on me and believe in me was me. And this was that moment that everything was going to change. You may be in a time period right now where you're going through immense transition. Everything's changing. You're going into a new chapter, or you can just feel the shift of life happening all over again. These particular moments can be some of the greatest catalysts in your life to going out there and achieving the one thing that's waiting for you to arrive. And that is unyielding belief in yourself, so you make the decision each and every day to bet 100% on you. See, most successful pivots don't just happen with strategy. They happen because of that unyielding belief in self. And if you don't believe me, we're going to talk about the science that backs up that support and 3 phases that I've crafted that will be part of your ability to put it all together. Then we're going to get into how you can apply those outcomes and really make a change for yourself. So let's start with the science. Do you know that belief is the indicator in change? Belief is the indicator in a successful outcome. More than talent, more than intelligence, more than capability, it is actually belief. And the funny and crazy part about it is that it's actually biological as well. Your brain activates when you believe in yourself physically activates. And that's going to happen in the motor cortex, which is going to be where you have your actual execution happening. This is going to be those those are going to be those voluntary actions that you're looking for that help get stuff done and execute. And you're also going to hit that prefrontal cortex. Now that is where planning and execution happens. That's when your brain is concocting its next greatest mission. And when those two light up, you are actively, biologically putting yourself in a situation that you have a greater outcome of success, because now your body is physically supporting you. And when that's activated, you get to hush something called the amygdala. Now, the amygdala is where fear happens. That's where hesitation happens. That's the part of our brain that we want to shut off, and sadly, it will always be there. But it does have its purpose. I digress. However, when it comes to betting on you and creating your outcomes of success, it is important to silence that side and really pour into that motor cortex and prefrontal cortex, because that is going to be part of what keeps you going when the entire world around you is falling out from underneath you. And this is going to be that moment where you have something called internal motivation or intrinsic motivation. That means when everything is swirling around, you stay motivated to achieve your results. It's coming internally, which is a powerful form of motivation. Think of yourself sitting in the middle of a hurricane. There's a storm around you. Things are flying. Life is chaotic. But you're in the center of the storm, where there is peace. This is your ability to weather the storm and keep moving forward, even when the world is crashing out, because you're going to continue to believe in you. And it helps when you really focus in on the self-efficacy. And now that is very specific confidence. Like, what are you a rock star at? What are you great at? What can nobody take from you? For me, it was my ability to communicate and pour into other people and teach. I love those things. And so when my time in corporate ended, I knew that no matter what, I was going to take what I was good at and my skill sets, and I was going to pour into them so that I could do what I was put on this planet to do, and that was help others. Because when you actively focus in the areas that you are great at, when you are practicing self-efficacy, you have a greater chance of actually pursuing your goals. You actually create healthier outcomes, and you can cope with stress better. So if you are actively practicing the things that you are phenomenal at, and then you continue to stay internally motivated because you are betting on you and you are finding yourself activating the prefrontal cortex and the motor cortex, you are scientifically putting yourself in a much better chance of success. Because we all know talented, brilliant people that aren't going after their dreams. You can't just rely on that. You have to continue moving forward. Now, this all sounds wonderful, but when you take those concepts and you put it into how you can grow, there's going to be a couple of different things you can tap into with yourself that you repeat in and out, day in and day out, to give you the blueprint to move forward. And it's going to start with the awareness and the alignment. Within all of us, we have our voice. That is the one thing we are not going to get rid of, the voice within. Whether you like it or not, you're stuck with it. So you might as well be the one that knows how to master it. The craziest part about it is that 95% of what we have programmed in our mind came from external sources, from family life, from the environment that we're in, from school. So if we're only putting in 5% of what's been programmed in us, are we just going to continue down a cycle of what's already happened ahead of us? Or can we take that voice within and make it our best friend through reprogramming? Think of it like this. You have a superhighway in your mind on what you've always done. It's super easy to get on the highway, right? You jump on the ramp and keep going. The road's already made. But if you have to go another direction, reroute, reprogram, think of having a machete in your hand and going through the woods, having to carve out a space that's never been walked through before. But over time, the path reveals itself. You start to cut back the branches that are in the way. You start to create a path through the grass. And you have begun to create a new way of thinking. Yes, it takes time. And you have to start fresh. Maybe. But when you continue to use that path as an opportunity to give you a better outcome, that becomes your new superhighway. And that's when you get to step into the next best version of yourself. But it's going to take something called self-awareness. You have to be able to know you, not the person that you think you are. It is the person you truly embody. That awareness is going to be what helps move you forward to identify the areas of opportunity and also see the positive spaces that you've already created. You get to say, hey, I'm an expert at this. I'm phenomenal at this. And then go, and I need a little bit of extra help here. But when we're self-aware, we get to become that person. We get to step into that person and say, all right, I have this and this going for me, and now it's time to improve the next area. And through all of it, as you're going through this reprogramming phase and the voice within, and you're exploring your self-awareness and understanding yourself at the deepest level, because no one is ever going to know you the way you know you. That's important. We have to do something called practicing self-compassion. There are theories in the world that say you can become 1% better every day, and they're remarkable. They will continue to help push you forward to be a better version of yourself. However, if we're practicing self-compassion, we also must recognize that we will not be 100% every single day. That just doesn't exist. Walking into work every single day, being better and better and better will only make you feel pressure to have one trajectory. And if you aren't better or feel like you're not performing at the level you should, you're going to lose your self-compassion and go in the opposite direction. And that's not going to help you get better. The person that needs to be the most patient with you is you. And being able to have that compassion will take you farther, because you're the one that's going to pick yourself up when you skin your knee. You're going to say it's okay. You're going to clean off the wound, bandage yourself up, and you're going to be able to keep going because you took the time to be compassionate with you. To be able to pivot powerfully in this life, you have to be able to listen to you. You have to hear that voice within. So ask yourself, what are you pretending to know? And who are you pretending to be? From there, we can move into the second phase. And that's where your worth and willingness really kicks in. In the end, the thing that you have to be able to do when it comes to betting on yourself and going full throttle in this belief is committing to you. Being able to commit to yourself at a higher level than anything or anyone else on this planet is going to be something that takes you from one space to the next. If you don't commit to you, you will give up. You don't want to give up on you. You are the last person that you should be giving up on. Commit to you. And sometimes we have the overgivers in the world that commit to everyone else and everything else more than themselves. And this is a message for you. You cannot pour from an empty cup, as I know we've said many times in this world and many people have heard. But when you actually commit to you and pour into your cup first, you will be able to still help other people from a place of overflow and abundance instead of a place of depletion and emptiness. And that is because you commit to you to fill your cup, and then you let it runneth over. And sometimes we don't think that we deserve that. And that's why it's important for self-worth. You have to be able to look at yourself and see your value. And a lot of times in this world, the world will take our self-value from us, our self-worth from us. They'll put us in a box and they'll shove us in the corner and they'll say, you're too much, you're too loud, you're too this, you're too that. You shouldn't be asking for that promotion, or you shouldn't think that you look great in that outfit. Self-worth can arrive in many areas and aspects of our lives, and to know you are worth it. You are worth the bet of you, the biggest and best bet you'll ever make in your life. You have to be able to give yourself that self-worth, because the world or people the closest to you can see your worth from a mile away. They see your glow. They see your golden body embodiment of who you are. They see the brilliance within you. And they see it in this grand spectrum. But if you only see your worth to be this much, there is no amount of someone pouring into you and loving you and recognizing you that can be found and discovered if you're only going to give yourself this much space of worth. There's magic that happens in self-worth. And we're not asking you to go from here to here in a day. But when those thoughts, that voice within, starts creeping in and tells you you don't deserve it, or you are not enough, or you should, well, there's an opportunity to catch that voice and say the opposite. Say it out loud. Say, I am worthy. I do deserve. And even if you don't fully embody it in that moment, the more you say it to yourself, the more you reprogram, and the more you create a super highway of self-worth that no one can ever take from you. Because you're the one that decides what your self-worth is, not everybody else. And once you have arrived, it is important to focus in on self-care. And this self-care is going to preserve that hard work that you've done. You need time off as a person. You need time to recalibrate as a human being. You need time to do the things that give you that space. And self-care can look different every day. Some people, they go and they run on a treadmill and they feel like they're getting their self-care and they love it. Another day you may say, I'm putting on my face mask and I'm going to sit here and allow this to just freshen my skin. Self-care doesn't have to be the same thing every day, but creating time and space for self-care shows the world and lets your vibration and the energy coming out of you know, I'm worth it. I care for me. And I'm the one that sets the precedence on how you arrive in my life. And self-care is that consistent reminder that you have that going for you. Because once you've taken all this time to work on you And you're going to do this for the rest of your life. You don't, it's just not a one-time fits all and then it goes away. No, these are things that you can actively continue to implement in your life to be the greatest version of yourself. You have to protect that. You have to protect that space that you've created for you. And that will allow you to create the confidence that you're looking to exude, because that starts to build into the way that you walk in a room. Because as you bet on yourself, that confidence exudes. And as you work in these different aspects of self, that allows you to show the world who you are and how dope you are as an individual and person. And there's an opportunity for you to say, hey, where am I abandoning myself? Who am I giving my power away to? What areas in life are taking away from me? And that is the opportunity to talk through the last phase. And that is with your boundaries and the aspect of becoming. You see, you've done all this work, but if you don't solidify the boundaries that say, that's a hard no. If you cross this boundary, you are taking it too far and you are not preserving the self-worth I have created for myself. You are not giving me the space to have the self-care I deserve. All the aspects, you are not hearing the positive voice within me, and you're trying to give something else that doesn't exist. That is a boundary. That is a hard no. And boundaries are a form of self-love. And it's going to be what you need to protect the work you've done, because our brains are wired to do what we already know how to do, no matter how painful it is, to continue cycles. Boundaries are going to be one of the most important ways that you stop cycles from repeating in your life and create new super highways for you. It makes all the difference. And when you've achieved the art of boundaries, which you are going to be exercising your boundaries for the rest of your life, someone's always going to try you. Something is always going to try you. But you're the one that decides who stays in your life and who gets asked to go out the door. But these boundaries allow you to have the alignment that you're looking for in self. We have an opportunity within us to align to the world around us and align to the highest version of who we are. Whatever your belief system is or isn't, we are still living a human experience. And within each of us is that voice. A voice that says, do this, go that way. And if we are so preoccupied with what everyone else says and what everyone else thinks and how we should show up in life, we're not allowing ourselves to align to the deepest inner voice within us, the voice of truth, the voice that sets us free. That alignment within itself is going to be your North Star in life. And if you don't allow yourself to tap into it, you're going to feel lost. And you're better than that. You were put on this planet with a vision in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. That vision is guiding you to the life that is calling to you. And we have to shut out the noise of the world, to be able to allow that voice to come in loud and clear. Because that is what's going to change our life. And when we're in alignment, the chances of your bet on yourself going in your favor increase. And in the midst of all of it, we have to recognize that life can be hard. And we've been through some really tough things that have stretched us, pushed us to an edge, have made us look at our identity from a whole nother scope, asked us to reevaluate ourselves, just been painful, grief, loss, all the things that bring tears and hurt. And in the midst of all of that, the world will say, oh, well, did you get the lesson from it? And I will say, take it a step farther and allow those moments to be what catapults you forward, because you have taken the time to sit in that pain and that hurt and that grief. And you have taken the opportunity for that energy to be alchemized into a better version of self. Beautiful stories are great. Fairy tales are wonderful. But there's something about connecting with a person that hasn't had the perfect life. In fact, I had a dance teacher that used to say that it's the comeback that everybody loves. There will be times that you fall on stage, things go wrong, you don't go the direction that you're supposed to, or someone else runs into you, and everybody sees it. But who are you going to be for the remainder of the performance? Are you going to show the worry on your face and zone out and continue to allow that moment to just relive in your mind over and over, which will yield more mistakes? Or are you going to take that moment and say, ha, just wait till you see what I do next? Grab the energy of the audience, show them that you are not defined what has happened to your past. Keep going and have them scream louder for you in the end. Because there's nothing like a comeback. There's nothing like taking a painful moment, an uncomfortable moment, and alchemizing it to be a higher form of energy that inspires the world, but mostly inspires you. And to seal the deal on all of these aspects, it's time to create the habit. Create the habits that allow you to tap into that self-care, that remind you the power of self-worth, that say, this is how I practice my boundaries. It takes time to recreate new habits and redefine our new self, that next level of our identity. But it's doable. And if you actively put your mind to it and your action behind it, you will be able to change those moments that hold you back into what springboards you forward into your greatest version of self. Your ability to hold on to these ideas is what's going to be able to hold your future. The future you see. The future your child self saw before the world told you you couldn't achieve or couldn't dream that big. All you have to do is reach out and take it. What I will say in my personal life, in that moment when I decided I was going to start my own business because I'd been laid off, I recognized that there was a major shift happening in my life, that major pivot moment. And there was an opportunity for me to listen to my inner knowing. And with that inner knowing, I was able to change the days in front of me and show up for myself instead of showing up for something that was stealing a part of me and my identity. And that opportunity is waiting for you. There's a long-term effect that happens when you build these habits and you continue to do them day in and day out. But still have self-compassion if you're not perfect every day. But that self-improvement, those continued habits, those continued ideas, that preservation that you create, that compounds. For somebody that's writing their dissertation, it's better to write 100 words a day than to just continue to put it off until you're about to graduate. Because even if it isn't right, you still put down 100 words a day. And you're that much farther to achieving your goal and making it all the way. And that is what the compound looks like. You show up every day, even if it's just 100 words. You're 100 words closer every single day. This shift can happen in every aspect of your life, or any aspect of your life at any given time. For me, it was apparent in my career. But that didn't mean it didn't impact every other aspect of my life. I am a totally new person today than I was the day that my life changed. It's changed several times since then, but that particular change, I'm a new person, and I really like her a lot. I'm proud of her. And this is an opportunity for you to enter rooms differently because you've done the inner work that allows you to walk in the room and be that person you know you can be. To be that person that said, well, when all the chips were down, I'm still betting on me. That makes a difference in how you speak, what you're able to achieve, and truly taps in to that inner belief. And as long as you continue to show up every single day, you will have the opportunity to apply what you've learned and get the actionable outcomes. The pivot doesn't make you, but it moves you. And then with that movement, you can continue to apply the change every day. And that is what makes the difference. You can be in a pivot moment right now. Life can be all over the place, or it could be exactly where you need it to be. But when the next pivot comes, what are you going to do? And who are you going to be? Today I ask for you to not wait for permission to bet on yourself. Don't downplay the readiness that is already within you to go after your dreams and goals. Bet on you, out loud, in front of everybody, on purpose. And start today. Because today is the best day to begin changing your life for the long haul. My name is Toro, and I speak to the power of betting on yourself. And if you are interested in having this type of transformation happen within an association, a work group, or amongst people you know, collectively, go ahead and book me. We can do this in a keynote workshop, or we can really dive in to different aspects and go through my workshop that allows you to workshop the 10 individual steps that we talked about today. Thank you for everything, and I cannot wait to see all of you again.